Welcome to Astronomy Daily. I'm your host, Anna, and we have an absolutely packed show for you today covering some of the most exciting developments in space news. We'll be exploring an unprecedented volcanic event on Jupiter's moon Io that's literally off the charts. Take a look at a fascinating super-Earth that experiences extreme seasons as it moves in and out of its star's habitable zone, and discuss some major updates from the International Space Station. We'll also dive into the latest developments from the European Space Conference, celebrate a historic achievement in civilian supersonic flight, and examine a newly discovered asteroid that's caught the attention of astronomers worldwide. So strap in for another journey through the latest discoveries and developments in space exploration and astronomy. There's a lot to cover, so let's get started. Late today, SpaceX founder Elon Musk stirred controversy with an unexpected announcement regarding astronauts aboard the International Space Station. In a post on social media, Musk claimed SpaceX had been asked by President Trump to mount a rescue mission to expedite the return of two NASA astronauts, Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, who have been on the ISS since June 2024. In a message posted by Musk on X, he said, "The POTUS has asked SpaceX to bring home the two astronauts stranded on the space station as soon as possible. We will do so." The astronauts originally traveled to the station aboard Boeing's Starliner spacecraft during its crew flight test mission. However, due to technical concerns with Starliner's propulsion system and helium leaks encountered during its journey to the station, NASA made the decision to bring the astronauts home aboard SpaceX's Dragon capsule instead. NASA has firmly pushed back against any characterization that the astronauts are stranded in space, emphasizing that the decision to switch return vehicles was made out of an abundance of caution. As former NASA Administrator Bill Nelson explained during a December briefing, after extensive testing at White Sands, while they identified the cause of a problematic valve issue, they couldn't determine the underlying reason, making it too risky to attempt a crewed return flight. This situation has required some reshuffling of crew assignments. NASA astronauts Zena Cardman and Stephanie Wilson have been removed from their planned mission to make room for Wilmore and Williams on the upcoming Dragon return flight. The new crew arrangement is set to return in late February, ahead of the Crew 10 mission launch, which has been delayed to March due to spacecraft readiness issues. This transition from Starliner to Dragon highlights both the challenges and advantages of NASA's commercial crew program, which maintains multiple providers to ensure continued access to the International Space Station. While Starliner continues development work toward full certification for regular crew rotation missions, SpaceX's Dragon capsule provides the flexibility needed to maintain safe operations. This is, of course, a breaking story, and I'll keep you posted. In other NASA-related news today, NASA's Juno mission has made a groundbreaking discovery on Jupiter's moon Io, detecting what scientists are calling the most powerful volcanic event ever recorded in our solar system. And when we're talking about Io, that's really saying something, as this moon is already known as the most volcanically active world we've ever encountered. The hotspot discovered in Io's southern hemisphere is truly massive, spanning an area larger than Earth's Lake Superior. But what's even more impressive is its raw power output. This single volcanic feature is pumping out more than 6 times the total energy produced by all of Earth's power plants combined. This remarkable discovery was made using Juno's Jovian Infrared Auroral Mapper, or JIRM instrument. The hotspot is so intense that it actually saturated the detector, suggesting that what appears as one massive feature might actually be several closely spaced volcanic events occurring simultaneously, hinting at an extensive underground magma chamber system. To put the scale of this event in perspective, the hotspot covers approximately 40,000 square miles. That's more than 5 times larger than the previous record holder, Io's Loki Patera, which spans about 7,700 square miles. The total power output measured from this volcanic region exceeds 80 trillion watts, a truly mind-boggling figure. This extreme volcanic activity is driven by Jupiter itself. Io orbits very close to the gas giant, completing a circuit every 42.5 hours. The moon's elliptical orbit means it experiences varying gravitational forces as it moves closer to and further from Jupiter, resulting in intense tidal forces that literally squeeze and stretch the moon. This constant stress generates enormous amounts of heat, melting Io's interior and fueling its estimated 400 active volcanoes. Scientists are particularly excited about this discovery as it could enhance our understanding of volcanic processes, not just on Io, but throughout the solar system. The Juno team plans to continue monitoring this region during future flybys, tracking how this unprecedented volcanic event evolves over time. And yet another fascinating discovery just announced. Astronomers have found a remarkable super-Earth planet orbiting a star only 19.7 light-years from Earth. What makes this planet, designated HD 20794d, particularly intriguing is its unusual orbit that takes it in and out of its star's habitable zone, the region where temperatures could allow for liquid water on a planet's surface. This super-Earth, weighing in at about 6.6 times Earth's mass, follows an extremely elongated orbit around its parent star. While most planets in our solar system follow nearly circular paths, HD 20794d's orbit is more like a stretched-out ellipse, creating what must be extraordinary seasonal changes. During its 647-day journey around its star, the planet swings from a distance equivalent to Mars's orbit to about as close as Venus is to our Sun. This means that for part of its year, the planet experiences conditions that might be too cold for liquid water, before passing through the habitable zone and then briefly entering a region where temperatures could become uncomfortably hot. Imagine the climate on such a world. Long, harsh winters when the planet is at its furthest point from its star, followed by a relatively brief but intense summer as it sweeps through the inner part of its orbit. Scientists speculate that any oceans might freeze during the winter months, only to thaw and potentially even begin evaporating during the short summer season, before freezing again as the planet moves back out. The star this super-Earth orbits, known as HD 20794 or 82 Eridani, is slightly dimmer and less massive than our Sun. Remarkably, it's bright enough to be visible to the naked eye from Earth in the constellation Eridanus. The planet shares its system with two other super-Earths that follow more conventional, nearly circular orbits closer to their star. The discovery of this world provides an excellent opportunity for future telescopes to study its atmosphere and help us understand the extreme limits of planetary habitability. Its relatively close proximity to Earth and its unique orbital characteristics make it an ideal target for investigating how life might adapt to dramatically varying conditions on other worlds. The 17th European Space Conference has kicked off in Brussels with bold declarations about Europe's future in space. European Commissioner for Defense and Space Andrius Kubilius set an ambitious tone, declaring that whoever controls space controls the future. He emphasized that Europe must maintain its position as a leading space power, calling for unity across the European space ecosystem. The European Space Agency is taking significant steps forward with several groundbreaking initiatives. They've secured an Ariane 6 rocket launch for the Sentinel-1D satellite, the fourth unit of the Copernicus Sentinel-1 mission. This new satellite will join its recently launched sibling, Sentinel-1C, to enhance global Earth observation capabilities. In a major development for climate monitoring, the European Commission has expanded its carbon dioxide monitoring mission. They've commissioned a third satellite for the Copernicus Anthropogenic Carbon Dioxide Monitoring Mission, which will accelerate global coverage of carbon dioxide and methane emissions measurements from human activities. The conference also saw the signing of 19 satellite data agreements, strengthening Europe's Earth observation capabilities. These partnerships involve both established industry players and emerging space companies, all contributing to the Copernicus space data ecosystem. Perhaps most excitingly, Europe is preparing for a return to Venus. The European Space Agency has awarded Thales Alenia Space the contract to build the Envision spacecraft, which will conduct unprecedented investigations of Venus's surface, interior, and atmosphere. This mission builds upon the discoveries of Venus Express and promises to reveal new insights about our mysterious neighbor. Additionally, the ESA has taken steps to ensure rapid access to space for European innovations through a series of contracts with small satellite makers. These agreements, part of the in-orbit demonstration and validation program, will help accelerate the testing and deployment of new space technologies, maintaining Europe's competitive edge in the global space sector. In breaking news from the aviation world, Boom Supersonic has achieved a historic milestone today at the Mojave Air and Spaceport in California. Their XB-1 test aircraft became the first civil aircraft to break the sound barrier over continental United States, marking a significant step toward the return of commercial supersonic flight. Chief Test Pilot Tristan Brandenburg, known by his call sign Geppetto, piloted the aircraft to an altitude of 35,000 feet, where it achieved this remarkable feat just 11.5 minutes into its flight. The XB-1 went on to break the sound barrier 2 more times during the 30-minute test flight, allowing pilots to thoroughly evaluate the aircraft's supersonic handling characteristics. What makes this achievement particularly noteworthy is that it represents the first step toward bringing supersonic passenger travel back to civilian aviation since the retirement of the Concorde in 2003. The XB-1 is serving as a technology demonstrator for Boom's ambitious Overture passenger aircraft, which aims to carry between 64 to 80 passengers at supersonic speeds. The test flight was monitored by 2 chase planes, a Dassault Mirage F-1 fighter jet, and a Northrop T-38 Talon. In a modern twist, the entire event was live-streamed using SpaceX's Starlink satellite constellation, providing unprecedented real-time coverage of this aviation milestone. The success of today's flight brings Boom Supersonic closer to their goal of revolutionizing air travel. The company already has over 100 orders for their planned Overture airliner from major carriers worldwide. If successful, these aircraft could potentially cut current flight times in half, ushering in a new era of faster-than-sound commercial aviation. Finally today, in concerning news from the astronomical community, scientists have identified a newly discovered asteroid that poses a potentially serious threat to Earth. Designated as Asteroid 2024 YR4, this space rock has been calculated to have a 1 in 83 chance of colliding with our planet in December 2032. The asteroid, measuring approximately 196 feet across, about half the length of a football field, is currently traveling through space some 27 million miles from Earth. While that might sound like a safe distance, astronomers are closely monitoring its trajectory, as it's expected to make an extremely close approach to our planet, passing within just 66,000 miles of Earth's surface. This potential impact risk has caught the attention of both NASA's Center of NEO Studies and the European Space Agency, with the asteroid now topping both organizations' impact risk lists. According to Catalina Sky survey engineer David Rankin, this represents one of the highest probabilities of impact ever recorded for an asteroid of significant size. If it were to strike Earth, the asteroid could cause substantial damage. Experts compare it to the 1908 Tunguska event in Russia, which flattened 80 million trees across 830 square miles when a similar-sized asteroid exploded in the atmosphere. The current risk corridor for potential impact runs from South America across the Atlantic to South Africa. However, astronomers emphasize that there's no need for immediate panic. The asteroid's orbit is still uncertain, and more observations are needed to better understand its trajectory. Scientists will have another opportunity to study the object more closely in 2028, when it makes a less risky approach, passing about 5 million miles from Earth. This encounter should provide crucial data about its size, composition, and precise orbital path, helping to better assess the actual risk it poses. And that's all for today's episode of Astronomy Daily. I'm Anna, and it's been my pleasure bringing you the latest developments in space and astronomy news. From a potential rescue mission, to record-breaking volcanic activity on Jupiter's moon Io, to potential asteroid threats, it's been another fascinating day in space exploration. If you'd like to stay up to date with all the latest space and astronomy news, head over to astronomydaily.io, where you can sign up for our free daily newsletter and access our constantly updating newsfeed. While you're there, you can also catch up on all our previous episodes. Want more astronomy content? You can find us across all major social media platforms. Just search for Astro Daily Pod on Facebook, X, YouTube Music, and TikTok. Thanks for listening, and remember to keep looking up. There's always something amazing happening in our universe. See you tomorrow.